Okay, we will give it just a moment for folks to connect to audio here. Okay, there we go. All right, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. We are very excited to have Analysis Group with us here today to talk a little bit more about their organization and I'm sure answer some questions for you around opportunities that might be available. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to the AG team. We will do a Q&A at the end, so just hold tight. We'll allow you to come off mute when that time comes, and you can also put questions in the chat. So I'll allow Analysis Group to take it away.
Great, thank you so much, Carolyn, and welcome everyone to our presentation today. Thank you for your interest in our firm. I hope you find today's presentation informative. And as Carolyn mentioned, as we go over our slides that we have prepared, make sure to think of questions that you want to ask and keep them for the end. Well, we'll have an extensive Q&A session, hopefully, if this presentation doesn't take longer than expected. So my name is Nikolai Done. I'm a manager at Analysis Group, or AG, as we call it. I'm an alumnus of the Bloomberg School of Public Health. I graduated about 5 years now. So I was in HPM. I graduated with the PhD in Health Economics and Policy. I loved my time at GHSPH. I was heavily involved in student assembly and social life, and so I have many fond memories of the school. And as it so happens, I now live in Baltimore. My wife is a surgery resident at the hospital, and so I live in Fells Point, so I will try to drop by the school sometime, and feel free to email me if you want to get together for a cup of coffee and talk more about AG or other things that you're interested in. For the past 4 years or so, I've been working with AG, first as an associate, after this as a manager. At AG, I work in the healthcare practice, and the focus of my work is to help our pharmaceutical industry clients to assess their products and to develop the evidence for regulatory approvals, payer negotiations, and so on. So I work mostly on quantitative analyses of various data sources, including healthcare claims databases, electronic health records, clinical trials, occasional survey, and other types of data as well. And I'm joined today by my colleague, Aojo, and I'll let him introduce himself as well to all of you.
Hey everyone, yeah, my name is Aojo Wu. I'm associate in Analysis Group for about 3 years. I'm based in Los Angeles office. My background is in epidemiology. I'm alumni from the Bloomberg School of Public Health. I did my PhD in epidemiology in the cardiovascular tracks, worked with people from Wells Center. It's great to coming back to not in person, but great to see everyone here online. Yeah. My work is focusing on conducting epidemiologies to support pharmaceutical companies regarding disease area covering cancers, Alzheimer's disease. Yeah, it's a very interesting experience, and I'm glad to have the opportunity to share my experience with you.
Great, thank you, Ojo. So before we get started, we wanted to let you know that we have these QR codes that we highly encourage you to scan with your phones. This will allow you to check into today's session so that we could have a list of the participants and you can follow up with us for additional information afterwards and get more information that way. So we'll also include these codes again at the end of the presentation. But I guess I'll just leave these on this slide on for another maybe half a minute or so. If you can kind of just take a kind of quickly scan it, and yeah, don't worry. At the end, we'll have it up again if you don't manage to do it now. Okay. All right. So I will on for now, and yeah. So here we just have a few things that we want to cover today. So first, we want to give you a brief overview of who AG is overall, and who we are as a firm, and our geographic locations and growth over the past few years. Then we also want to talk a bit about our work. So we work on a diverse set of interesting analytical problems for a lot of big and small clients. Then we want to talk a bit about the culture of AG. So we're very collaborative, very supportive firm. We take a lot of kind of pride in the quality of our work, and we really support our staff, and especially our newly recruited colleagues when they join AG. The kinds of roles that we have available, we'll talk a bit about those towards the end of the presentation, and then also we'll quickly go over ways in which you can join AG. We're a great place to start a career and to build marketable skills. So we really hope that you will consider applying for one of our positions. So let's start with a quick snapshot of what AG looks like today. We are one of the largest economics consulting firms. We have, I think now over 1,000 employees in 14 offices globally. We are a privately held firm. In the US, we have 9 offices, and we also have an additional 5 offices internationally, with the latest addition being the Paris office, which opened in 2018, I guess the year that I joined. Other offices are, I believe, Brussels, Montreal, let me see if I can remember, London, and Beijing. So to kind of help us do this work, we partner with a network of industry experts, academics, and academics from leading universities to offer our clients what we hope is exceptional breadth and depth of expertise. So we're very collaborative, and we work with folks from all kinds of different institutions. So yeah, this is a map of our offices. As I mentioned, we have 14 offices in 6 different countries. We've been growing very fast over the past, I guess, 30 or so years. We attract a very diverse international pool of talent from all over the globe. And we actually also invest heavily in visa support for the new hires. So I personally am, an international. I was an international student, and I know many of you are as well. So just so you know, we do offer support for work visas for new hires. There have also been situations where, if, let's say for an H-1B visa, one of our staff did not manage to, secure the visa because of course, I'm sure sometimes those visas are limited or there's some sort of competition. They were, supported to go to an international office for a period of time and then maybe reapply. And then once they would get their visa, we allowed them to come back. So it's, as I mentioned, it's a very supportive company, and we really do everything in our power to invest in our staff. We've also grown over time in the scope of work that we do. So we have kind of two different components of our firm. Most of what we do is in kind of economic consulting for litigation. The core practice areas there include antitrust, intellectual property, finance, healthcare, a number of different areas. But then our healthcare practice, and specifically we call it HEOR, so health economics and outcomes research, has been a very fast-growing component of our work, and it's internally it is a bit different in terms of how we work. So we focus on working with large, medium, and small pharmaceutical industry clients, as I mentioned, and that is what we're mainly hiring for, and what this session is about today. Move on here. So, as I mentioned, we have these kind of two categories of litigation work and healthcare work. On the litigation work, generally our clients are the law firms that represent Fortune Global 500 companies involved in some form of litigation matter. And on the healthcare side, we generally partner directly with healthcare organizations. But what ties this together is generally our skills. We're very analytical. We in both of these practices, we aim to generate insights based on evidence, based on data, and to have a deep impact in our clients' work. So in our healthcare practice, generally we focus on several domains, most of which I'm sure you all study at the School of Public Health. So this includes health economics, general economics, econometrics, biostatistics, epidemiology, psychometrics, medicine, pharmacy, health policy, and so on. So our work generally encompasses all of these different subdomains. On the healthcare side, which we're going to continue to focus on throughout this presentation, as I mentioned, we build analyses to support answering complex questions, such as those that you see on this slide. So, for example, we may derive evidence to show what the economic burden of a disease is on society, right? So for an FDA approval, generally the client, so a pharmaceutical company, not only needs to show that their drug is working, but also that it solves an important problem that has that it treats a disease that has a large burden on society. Then we also answer questions like, out of two treatments, which one is most cost effective, which one saves more lives, which one has higher efficacy. We also work quite a lot in patient-reported outcomes, or even designing surveys or psychometric instruments, and the list goes on and on. So anything that any kind of question that our clients in the pharmaceutical industry have that we can solve with deep analytical expertise, we probably work on it. And again, here is a list of some of the domains that we work on. This graphic here also shows the sort of the breadth of our expertise in relation to the product life cycle of a pharmaceutical company. So our work spans the entire spectrum from the preclinical work that is usually used to kind of evaluate the economic value proposition, all the way to the post-marketing period once a drug is approved, and then let's say generic products or biosimilars enter the market. So that includes analyses of phase 1, phase 2 trial data, as well as phase 3 and supporting the launch of the product, as well as different analyses that will support the kind of different claims that their clients want to make about their comparative effectiveness and safety of their products. So again, this just gives you sort of a flavor of the types of work that we do across the product life cycle. And in terms of specific projects, the kinds of specific projects that we do, as I mentioned, we can focus on anything that our clients are interested in answering, any kind of hard questions that they have. So I've probably worked on most of these types of cases. I will present to you one specific case that kind of combines a lot of these domains. But yeah, we help our clients with, for example, health technology assessment submissions or regulatory submissions. We analyze quality of life. We can do indirect comparisons, so using data from let's say our client's clinical trial, but then also comparing it to data reported in the literature. We conduct extensive economic modeling, where we have our own data science group with deep expertise in machine learning and some of these kind of new and sexy sort of techniques that you might have learned about. Neural networks, things like that. And we also work quite a lot in personalized medicine, so really trying to understand how drugs can affect patients specifically, and not just large kind of populations on average. So as I mentioned briefly, we are experts in data analysis. So we work with any kind of data that will help us answer the question. So starting with clinical trials, our clients generally will have conducted these trials, and they will share the data with us, and we will analyze it to gain insights. As well as real-world data sources, so claims, electronic health records, and discharge databases, anything that is generated in the real world as patients receive treatments. As I mentioned, we also design patient surveys, and we do a lot of economic modeling. And so here, I just wanted to quickly touch upon a specific example from the first case that I did, or first project that I did when I joined AG, just to give you a flavor of what you can expect, some of the types of cases that you can expect to work on immediately after you join, either as an associate or an analyst. So our client here was a pharmaceutical client working in Duchenne muscular dystrophy, which is a very it's pretty terrible disease. It is a genetic disease that affects mainly boys because it's linked to the X chromosome, which boys have only one copy, and it leads to progressive loss of function of their muscles. So essentially, initially the boys at birth seem normal. They kind of walk around, they seem maybe a little bit clumsy, but then generally they tend to lose ambulation in their early teens. And then life expectancy for this disease is somewhere between 20 and 30 years. However, our client has been working on a number of very innovative technologies, allowing the the transcription of genetic information to skip the part of the DNA that suffers from a mutation that causes this disease. And so what they needed to do was to develop a proxy measure for function that could be used in real-world data. So in clinical trials, usually what is being measured is 6-minute walk distance. So patients are literally asked to walk for 6 minutes, and the distance that they walk is recorded by the clinician. However, as you can imagine, in the real world, doctors very rarely do this test. It's generally a test that they use in clinical trials. So the problem here is that we wanted to find a proxy that they could use to demonstrate that their product works, that payers could use using real-world data, and to use this as a basis for negotiation and for value-based contracts. Some of you may be familiar with this type of contracts in pharmaceutical policy, but essentially the company was willing to say, we understand that our drug is a bit expensive. It took massive investment to bring it to market, and we're so confident that it works that we're willing to essentially give you some of the payment back if it doesn't work. And so in this particular case, what we did is we developed machine learning model to predict this measure, 6-minute walk distance, using data from a clinical trial that we had access to from our collaborations with other pharmaceutical companies. So it's a very rich data set, and we essentially developed actually multiple models. We tested out different kind of very new and innovative machine learning techniques, including random forest, optimal decision trees, which is a technique developed in the past, I believe, 5 years or so by a group at MIT that we work very closely with. and multivariate regression with Lasso, which some of you may be familiar with, which is very kind of a more traditional approach with a twist. It allows for automatic selection of covariates that make an impact in the prediction. And so we tested these different techniques. Ultimately, we presented all three options to the client, and the model that seemed to be doing the best in terms of predictions was optimal decision trees. However, there are some models that maybe they found a bit more interpretable. And we also published this work. We presented it at a conference a couple of years ago. So this is just an illustration to sort of show you the kind of the complexity of the cases that you're faced with immediately after you join, and the different skills that you kind of have to put together to solve such a case. Here, of course, it was like, it was about familiarity with kind of payment models and understanding the needs of the client. Of course, technical skills. So I was kind of familiar with some of these techniques, but I also got to learn a lot from my colleagues who had more expertise in the area of machine learning. It was a multi-stakeholder collaboration. So we worked with the experts in academia, with our client. We also worked with a nonprofit who was able to kind of share the data that we use for this project. So again, very complex, very exciting project. And then the added bonus is that we also got to publish the results of this analysis, which is something that is very common in our HEOR practice. So, our work doesn't just become a PowerPoint that then no one sees except maybe for 2 or 3 people in the client's team. We tend to publish most of our analyses, and in fact, our clients would prefer if we publish most of what we do. Great. Okay, so now I will turn it to Aojo to talk about culture. And if you have questions regarding what I've just covered, of course, you can ask them at the end.
Yeah, thank you, Nick. Yeah, so for cultures, there are 5 core elements in AG culture. The first one is excellence and rigor. So we are a consulting company, and we strive for high quality work. This means we value work that is error-free and views that are backed up by data and facts. So accuracy and excellence really matter in our daily work because those matter to our clients to support the decision making. Because of this reason, we also value people who has attention to details. The second point is the collaborative environment. So in AG, we work within an environment where we tackle challenging questions together. This is reflecting a few aspects. One is that all the casework is a project team based. There are a lot of internal communication and coordination within project team. And the timely communication is important to ensure that the projects are moving smoothly according to the timeline. Second, we have 14 offices, but we operate as a one firm. For a healthcare project, you may see people from different offices work together on one project. And we have a shared platform that people from different offices can access it and leverage the resource for the casework. Well, the next point is the development of self and others. As a consulting company, our most valuable asset is our people. So a central aspect of our culture is helping each other grow. We also believe in personal agency. This means that each person should be in charge of their own learning experience. In practical terms, we make sure people have flexible exposure to different practice area, case type, and work with different colleagues so that our consultants can keep learning from new experience. Also, we have developed we have a well-developed advisor-advisee mentor-mentee program, which aimed at helping you be successful at every level and across your career with us. The next point is trust and respect. So this means that we believe good ideas can come from everyone we expect, and we expect people at all levels speak up when something isn't working or or something is wrong, even if sometimes it's hard to do so. It also means we don't have a lot of rules and policies. So AG is not a rule-based company. We often operate in a shade of gray. This can sometimes be tough for people as there's no clear rules, there's no clear manual on how to do things. But we do it way because we trust that everyone will act in the right way instead of believing that we need to impose some set of rules or some controls. A final part of our culture is welcoming and inclusive. So at AG, we pride ourselves of being an inclusive and welcoming workplace. Our employees come from over 40 countries and can speak in more than 40 languages. We enjoy the transfer opportunities across the 14 global offices. Next slide, please, Nick. Yeah, and a bit more about this welcoming, inclusive environment. So we welcome diversity, equality, and the inclusions. We think it is important to bring your whole self to work. We believe that a diverse workplace directly supports our goal to provide a high quality work, which drives our commitment to ensure equal opportunities regardless of sexual orientations, gender identity, age, race, color, socioeconomic status, or religion. Our collaborative cultures help ensure that employees from all backgrounds contribute equally and meaningfully to our work. This is very important. AG is also committed to fostering a supportive workplace that celebrates the diversity. So we have AG Pride, Black at AG, and AG Women, which are employee-funded and employee-led affinity group. Those open to all offices and roles across the firm, and those hold AG accountable for having a real culture of diversity and inclusion. Also at AG, we do pro bono cases, and we are expanding the number and the scope of our pro bono initiatives. Many of this related to underserved communities and the issues of racial justice. We have also recently created an internal shared space to brainstorm and pursue pro bono work that relates to anti-racism efforts and the criminal justice topics. Next slide, please. Yeah, as a consulting company, AG values employees' well-being. The company provides benefit and the resource to support employees. For example, the company provides a wellness program, including offering a variety of traditional medical, dental, vision, and financial support options. Also, the company allows for family and personal leave and provides support regarding this. There might be a time that you need to be away from work for an extended period of time due to parental leave or for your personal medical condition reason, to take care of family members of other type of personal reasons. So AG recognizes the importance of those situations and offers a variety of leave or absence options. Another aspect is the hybrid work schedule or the work environment. AG knows that flexibility and ability to work remotely sometimes is important to many of the employees. Our center of gravity is largely in office, but with flexibility to work remotely in 1 to 2 days a week, the company is also more flexible during the COVID pandemic to accommodate the situation. Another advantage of working at AG is some minimal travel, which is different from general management consulting. This is very friendly for family. Most of our meeting with clients are web-based through like Teams, Zooms. This avoids travels. Lastly, the company has a lot of firm-wide events. We have recreational common space in each office that include like table tennis, puzzles, and snacks and drinks. Yeah, our colleagues get together like Friday afternoon, having some fun, have some chats, enjoy the times that we are not that busy. We also have a kind of a regular happy hours, summer party and a year party each year. I personally also attended a food challenge for eating like 20 donuts, which is very fun. Yeah. Next slide, please. So for new hires, we offer 2 positions. One is an analyst, the other is associate. So analyst new hire usually come with a bachelor or master degree in relevant quantitative disciplines. So in daily works, an analyst can play a role as a data scientist or statistician, writing codes to implement analytical solutions. Analysts also play roles as a researcher or problem solver, for example, looking for answers for specific research questions in the literature. They can also have the opportunity to present internally about the analytical work and the interpretation of the analytical results. Experienced analysts will also help to guide junior colleagues with less experience in the casework and provide mentorships to them. And will have the opportunity to assist with project management and team collaboration. Overall, there's a lot of opportunities you can explore at AG, like as an analyst role. Yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, so for associate new hire, we usually require a doctoral or MBA or equivalent degree in quantitative disciplines. For healthcare associates, you can play a role as a researcher. So for my day-to-day work, it's actually quite similar to my PhD research work while studying Hopkins. So I work on thinking about like research questions, appropriate study design to address the questions, writing study proposal, analysis plan, working with the team to implement the analysis, interpreting the results, and prepare the result deliverable. As Nick mentioned, we are not just making slides. We do a lot of publications. We're preparing abstract posters. We submit those to conference and writing manuscripts. So for a project we work on chronic kidney disease, we study the nature history of the disease and have made several publications and submitted several abstracts to the conference and make some impacts there. So for associates, we look for people who has strong quantitative and analytical skills with excellent organization and communication skills. We want people who are detail-oriented. And intellectual curiosity is also very important in our casework. Also, we expect the associate to have confidence for interacting with clients and academic experts, as those are part of our work. We need to know clients' need and collaborate with clinical experts and the client's teams to conduct the project. We also expect associates to have the flexibility to work independently or within a team. Next step, please. Yeah. So as I mentioned, part of our culture is really value the development of our employees. So there's a lot of opportunities for learning at AGs. So this includes like courses on analytical software. All new hires will take an extensive curriculums of AG developed multi-week courses on analytical software, programming language, including R, SAS, SQL, Stata, VBA, Excel, and Python. Some of those courses are provided in AGU or AG University. So AGU is a centralized online learning portal with hundreds of training videos, presentations, and other targeted training contents. Personally, I found it super helpful, and the company has devoted a lot of effort to put this together so that our employees can learn the skill needed, acquire the techniques is needed for the project, and work efficiently. We also have orientations that will help new hires to understand our work, our cultures, and the best approach for the first year work. As you work in AG, the most training actually all occurs through casework. So consultants will develop technical and communication skills by implementing and explaining analysis results. And as the consultant progress, they will develop leadership skills by coordinating works and mentoring others. Another aspect is the mentorship and advisorship. AG really valued mentorship and advisorship programs here. We have an open door policy that encourages collaborative environments. So both new hire and experienced consultants regularly ask teammates and colleagues for advice. We talk about questions we encountered in the project and some general advice for career development. New hires will also be paired with a formal peer mentor. For advisee program, all employees will have signed advisor who help provide big picture guidance on career development, serve as soundboarding to answer questions, and coordinate advisee's performance review at the year end. We also have forum discussing career development, workshop focusing on writing skills and case management skills. Those I found very helpful. Next slide, please. So this is a graph showing the career paths in AGs. So you can see that this is really a relatively flat structures in the companies. So for people with a bachelor or master degrees, we hire them as an analyst. And with like a 1 to 2 year experience, they can promote to senior analyst. And for those with this high performed senior analyst, have the opportunity to promote to associate if they have an advanced degree like a master degree. And for associates, usually I think about 2 to 4 years with the relevant experience on case management, you can get promoted to manager and later to VP and managing principal. So for associates, we also directly hire people with an advanced degree, like the doctoral degree in the relative disciplines, as I mentioned before. Yeah. Actually, maybe one slide back. Oh, okay, sorry. Yeah. Next slide, please. So there's also lots of future opportunities. So as I mentioned, there's a path to associates. So for people with like master degrees, the high-performing senior analyst with a master degree can be promoted to associates. And also if people who want to seek for a higher degree training, high-level degree training, the company also provide options. One is a sponsored return offers. For high-performing senior analysts leaving AGs, we provide sponsorship for full-time graduate programs and also offer return offers for them to come back after they finish the program. The AG also provides sponsorship for a part-time degree. If the senior analyst is interested in getting higher level degrees, while keep working in AG, they can do a part-time work at AG while doing the part-time degree program. Next slide, please. Yeah. We also offer summer internship programs. So some highlight of this program include like you will have the opportunity to work on real case work. You will get guidance from senior staffs and will able to work on different practice areas. You will receive trainings, as I mentioned. You will have access to the AGUs, getting training on codings, analytical skills. Also, there will be a formal mentoring programs with the mentor guiding you through the internships. So the internships usually last for 2 to 12 weeks. Most common is a 10 weeks lunch program. And there will be a midsummer evaluation at week 5 and a final evaluation at around the end of the inter-programs. And the return offer will be provided based on the performance of the intern. Yeah. Next slide, please. Yeah, so to apply for the full-time positions, please submit your applications to the analysisgroup.com careers, and the content need to include resume, transcripts, cover letters, indicating your geographic preference. And for the internship programs, the application process should start late this year, I think in November, and the interview will start in January. For the full-time program, it's a rolling base. So when the all position filled, that will be end. So I think right now will be a good opportunity timing for the application for the full-time position. Yep. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Joe. So yeah, as I mentioned, I will leave these QR codes here, and I think we have time for a few questions.
Yeah, let me allow folks to unmute themselves. And yeah, we probably have time for just a couple of questions here. So feel free to unmute yourself and introduce yourself and ask your question.
Hey, if I may go first, thanks for this presentation. I was just wondering about when you guys finish a deliverable for a client and finish a project, how do you get on a new project? And my second quick question is, on average, how many projects do you work on at any given time?
Great. Yeah, thank you, Kiefer. Those are great questions. I'll try to answer them relatively quickly because there's a lot to say, but I can give you a flavor of how we work. So I'll start actually with the second question. In general, in the healthcare practice, everyone works on multiple projects at the same time, and the number can differ based on some factors like, the role that you take on that particular case. Sometimes you may be the person more responsible to drive the case forward and to and really kind of owning the analyses, or really doing a lot on the case. Sometimes you'll take a more defined, smaller role. And of course, you have more bandwidth to do other projects. As an associate, you're initially staffed on 3 to 4 projects. I think as an analyst, it's pretty similar. And then you're sort of expected to add more depending on your availability. The most important aspect of our internal process is what we call the internal labor market. So essentially, internally, you are responsible for the cases that you want to join, and you're essentially almost like your own, like you're kind of like an entrepreneur within the firm. So you almost have your own little company, and you're free to kind of find opportunities for yourself to develop and maintain relationships with kind of senior staff. Of course, it's also a very good mechanism for keeping us accountable and for making sure that we deliver the best quality work, because otherwise people don't want to work with us. So they also have that freedom to kind of choose us for a project or not. So essentially it works like a little market internally. If it sounds a bit, intimidating, sometimes it can be, but there's also a great structure that the company puts in place to make sure that folks with availability are aware of new projects that are coming in, so that we have, an internal kind of dashboard where we can kind of see what projects might be available. And also we do weekly surveys to get a sense of who has availability and to kind of match, managers that need work with staff that has availability to do work and to kind of get those folks on the kind of newly forming case teams. So that's kind of how we would get a new case. However, you know, we don't just work on one case at a time. So for example, I will have as a manager anywhere between like 10 and sometimes 20 different cases. Aujiro, I'm sure, has at least, you know, 5 or 6, if not way more than that. Analysts sometimes will work on maybe fewer, like 3 or 4, if they're really taking the lead on analyses, or sometimes they'll also be working on like, you know, even up to 10 cases at the same time. But some of those cases may be a bit more dormant, so not much is happening. Let's say we send some preliminary results to the client, and we're waiting for them to come back to us with next steps, or, you know, we submitted the report and next step will be manuscript, which, you know, will take some time. So that's in general how we work. I hope that kind of answers your question.
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to know. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Other
Great, so
questions?
maybe one more question. Well, if not, I'm happy to ask a quick question. I would love to hear from both of you. What has kept you at Analysis Group?
Yeah, great question. I guess, Aujiro, do you want to start? I guess you also have been with AG for I guess less time, right? So I don't know if you want to give your thoughts, and I can also share my thoughts on it.
Yeah, actually, I did internships before I joined as a full-times. So when I do the internship program, I do find I really love the environment here. It's a very clever environment, and the people are really nice here. And also, as I work here, I found there's a lot of opportunity to working on different type of cases. So different from in the academic settings that I'm focusing on my own research for one particular disease areas. Now I have the opportunity to apply my analytical skills to a broad range of the disease areas. And also I'm addressing different research questions, and I keep learning the skills that I'm very interested in. So personally, I'm quite interested in the quantitative analytical skills. And in AGs, we try to address some questions that sometimes is hard to answer, and there's no existing method or well-established method, and we need to be creative and come up with a solution, which I found is challenging, but also quite interesting and attractive me.
Yeah, great, thank you, Aujiro. So yeah, for me, I also have a pretty, I guess, special situation. So I actually turned down an offer to stay in academia. I had an offer for an assistant professor position at actually at BU. But I decided to join AG after initially thinking that I was just going to go to the interview and meet some people, but then I was pretty certain I would take the professor position. And I, after meeting everyone and really kind of seeing the academic and very collaborative culture, like Aujiro mentioned, I decided to to choose AG instead, and I don't regret it for a second. I think it's been absolutely the best decision for me. It's a very flexible company. You get to work on very interesting, very important projects at the same time. Our clients are, they come to us with the questions that they can't really answer themselves. And they really trust us to answer these questions, and we have very strong partnerships with them. So I think a big part of it for me was also the fact that you feel like you're really working as part of a team. Everything, every line of code gets at least another person looking at it. You never feel like you're just siloed away in your in your office. And also it does have aspects of academia that I like, which is we get to publish our work. And I think that's very important to kind of have a track record of high quality publications out there. So for me, those are very important factors.
Great, thank you both for that perspective. So we have just hit time. I want to be respectful of everyone's afternoon. So I want to give a big thank you to Aju and Nikolai for taking the time this afternoon to talk with us more about Analysis Group and about your experiences specifically. It was really enlightening. And hopefully you'll have some applicants soon to the roles that you posted here. So for students, I will be sending out the recording that has these slides in it. So you can go back and reference that if needed. And otherwise, just want to wish everyone a great afternoon and yeah, great rest of the week. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Great. Thank you, Caroline. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.